Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome to my YouTube channel if you're new here. This is actually the second time I am doing this video because I've already done this whole video once before and I did not like the outcome, so I'm just doing it again. Why are we here? We are here to have a first look at the new 3D program for webtoon and comic artists called Abler. Quick note beforehand, I was asked by Abler to make this little video and to test it out, so to say. So this is a sponsored video, but it is my my honest opinion on the program. So let's quickly switch over to Abler. And there we are. I've already gone and opened a SketchUp file in Abler. Abler with the new version can not only open blend files, but also import SketchUp files. So you can just go to File, Import, and then choose either FBX, SketchUp, or blend file. And because I had this great SketchUp file that I downloaded from Async 3D and already changed a few things around in SketchUp, and I will use this for my new comic. I just gone and opened it here, so yeah, I can show you exactly how I would use it, or exactly how I will use it for my comic. As you can see, there is a sun already set inside Abler. I can just go to, this is the general one, the general tab, where you have a quick start guide, open, import stuff. Everything you have up here is up here as well, so I could go and import stuff over here as well. Camera we don't need right now. Let's quickly go to style, because in the scene there's just everything that's in there, but you can't really move anything around. So the really important thing in Abler for a webtoon artist is the style tab. Here you can change what is shown. So if I tick off texture, it loses all its texture and it's just black and white. But I do need the texture because I do have a colored comic. And you can tick off line, then you have no lines, but I do need the lines, so let's go back. You can change the line widths, the minimal line width, the maximal line width. So if I go in and say the smallest or thinnest line, like 0.5, and thickest is like 5, then well, you can see here, this is the thickest line, and one of the thinnest is around here, I guess. So the further away, the thinner the lines usually. And also where things overlap each other, like here, the bed, it is further away than the chair. It's kind of as far away as this part here, but because it's this corner here is overlapping with this object, for some reason, and this is really cool, Abler just makes these lines thicker, so you can see that the bed is overlapping the closet in the background. But usually I do like, yeah, 0.5 is okay. And the max line width is like 2 with me. I don't want to have that big of a difference. So now the view a little bit. You see if you move around, it's constantly recalculating the line weight, as you can see, especially up here. It wobbles around a bit and then fixes in one place. Now we want to change the sunlight a bit. And this is a night scene, so I will set the sun lower than the horizon, so it seems like the light that comes in from the window is a street light that is lower than the window. So because this is the first floor, or no, wait, this is the second floor for everyone not in Europe. So this is the second floor, the one above ground. So we'll set the sun to, let's say, -18. And then go around. So this, the altitude is how high the sun is in the digital sky. And this one here, I will not even try to pronounce that. is from which direction, like north, east, southwest, it is coming. So I want to turn it around until it falls through the window. There we go. Just want it to be slightly on this shelf here. Yeah, that's good. It's possible we can't even see it later. But I had another panel from like down here where you can see the character lying in bed, so you could still see this light. So I have to keep the light up here so everything stays consistent within this scene. So keep it there. And now I'll show you a little trick that possibly not a lot of people are doing those first peeks or how-tos will show you or do even know. You see this little clock in the back here, and I think most of you might know those clocks. They do glow. Right now it's not glowing, it's just dark, but you can go and make it glow. Let's go in there. Click this one here. It selects part of the clock. By the way, in SketchUp, the model is an ASON SketchUp model, so there's a lot of interactive stuff. And in SketchUp, if I click on the little buttons, it changes color from off to on, so I can change the time on this clock, which is very nice. So if I want to go and make this glowy, you have the object properties, and here this is the texture of this object, which is also the same texture as this object. So if you change this piece here, all the other pieces, green pieces of the clock will change with it because they all share the same texture. Now, this texture is just a light blue, and it's currently set to diffuse, which is just more or less the normal. If you had like in Clip Studio layers or layer styles, this would be the normal layer style. But you can go and say, I want this set to emission, which would be like add glow in Clip Studio. So if I go in, switch to emission here, you see it starts glowing. And as soon as you change over to emission, get a little number back here. It's usually set to 1, but you can set it lower so it glows a little less, like say 0.4. You see it glows a little less, but you can also let it glow with the light of 1,000 suns. So you can change that as you wish. I currently have bloom ticked on, but sadly, if you go and export your illustration and do not use the full render because you want to your texture render, your line render, and your shadow render separately, which I usually do, you will not have a bloom render. This whole bloom here, this whole glowy thing around the numbers will just vanish because it will not be rendered. So I have to go in and just take away the bloom, sadly. So I'm just going back to 1. And later I will just go in and set a layer to glow or add and just go over with a soft brush and then make it glow a little bit. That's all there is to my little secret about glowing things. If you have little lamps or let's say a flame or anything that glows really, you can just use emission and set it to whichever number you want. If you do not want to export your background in parts, like these renders here will all be individual images later on that you will be able to use separately. And this is exactly what I want, because this gives me a lot more freedom to change things around, like making colored lines and changing the color of the shadows and different things like that. But if that is not something that you need, because you see this background and you're like, okay, I can just use it as is, then you can tick all these off and just use the full render. And then you can go in the style and say, I do want the bloom, and just export it like that. Because if you do export just the full render, it will export it as you can see it in the viewport right here. So the bloom will be in there. I could go also in and do color adjustments here. So if you say, okay, this is supposed to be a night scene, I could go in and pull the blue up so it looks a lot more like a night scene. and pull down the exposure a little bit, maybe. So you could go in here and change some colors around, brightness, contrast, everything. Have more contrast, but less brightness, just to make it more of a night scene. But as I said, I will go and change the color of the shadows and the color of the lines later in Clip Studio, so I don't really need this whole shebang here. Just gonna go and change everything back. So with that, it's basically all done. The only thing that I need to do is now choose which view I want and just export.